My nervous system is acting up today. It's causing the shakes pretty bad. Luckily I'm going to the primary care today, so that's kind of good, I guess. It's not good that it's happening, but it's good that somebody who is a medical professional can see it more. But it's making it hard to speak. The more I try to speak, the more it hurts in my, or more it sends out these electrical pulses down my spine. But I did want to speak about something on this recording. One thing that everybody can do to make sure that they're not making assumptions, because there's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of companies pushing narrative, there's just a lot of people in general trying to push narratives for profit or for their own purposes. So, one thing you could do to try to make sure you're not fooled or not taken advantage of, or like me or my father. My father was lied to and manipulated by my mother, and I definitely was hurt, manipulated, and lied to by my mother. I'm sure of that. And companies have done it to me and my father many times before. I am absolutely sure that they're pushing a narrative, and I'm sure that they have money in politics and things like that. When there's also like a lot of politics in news where they push narratives on the news where two different news stations can literally have the exact story and be totally different. I mean, literally, like these are, let's say Fox and CNN. One can say that there was a something going on, and then another one will say, "Oh no, this person's making it up. Nothing's going on." Well, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's either one or the other. So now you don't know who to believe. Well, one way you can try to unfold or figure out what's going on when people are pushing a narrative, or when you're wondering more information, or somebody's not quite trustworthy and you want to, learn more. It doesn't work with individual peoples all the time. Individual persons, sorry. I actually said persons in my brain, but it came out people. That happens when I'm getting the pulses down my spine. Sometimes six will be nine too. I'll try to say nine and my mouth will say six. Has to do with the pulsing of the nervous system. Any output of my nervous system is very difficult. Been like that for 25 years and getting worse by the day. But anyways, one thing you can do with corporations or certain news stories, or sometimes I'll do, just for a simple question like gargling salt water, I've heard all the way back to 7 years old. But when I research it, it's good to get an opinion over and over and compare it to other opinions. And that can be very helpful. You can't get certain with that, but after years of doing that, you can be pretty certain of some type of medical treatment or some type of, like, I know I have a neurological disorder. I know that this is nerves because I've asked at least 100 different people and gave them a description of what's going on. Or with a news story, you can check 40 different, or if you're like me, 10 different news sources that are trustworthy and compare the same story. And which, if you get nine news stations pushing one story, and then you got one news station pushing another story, it's probably the nine. When there's an average number, if you got nine of one person saying one thing and one person saying another, usually you can check your facts that way. Not always though. Not always. There's always like the tenth. The what is it called? It's called the 10th person factor or something. That's where in government, if nine government officials are sure like something like the world is ending, there should be one individual assuming that it's not, just in case. They call that the ninth man or the 10th man or something like that. They used it in a zombie movie. There's a whole movie I haven't watched that has that same premise. And there was a book written about it where if you got 10 people in a room and nine are sure something's happening, most likely that something is happening and they're going to go with that. But that one person should be ready just in case it doesn't. Now, that zombie movie, they used it as the 10th man, I think, and everybody around the world figured that the zombie virus was bullshit. Oh, everybody said that it was, oh, no way. From the movies, no way a zombie virus is coming for us. But one person in Israel said, well, if everybody else says that this video is fake, and even though it looks real, it's proof, that it's, everything about it looks real, but everybody's assuming that this couldn't happen, then I should assume the opposite. That doesn't always work, but there should be somebody out there and making sure that there is a 10th man in case somebody falls through the cracks, in case something goes wrong, in case 9 people are pushing a narrative. But most of the time, you can check facts by getting multiple sources. And if 9 sources or multiple sources say one thing, and your source, or like Fox News, says something else, then you know it's bullshit. And I've seen multiple of this. I've seen Fox push bullshit. I've seen CNN push bullshit. I've seen lots of bullshit being pushed. And I am part of the reason why I figured this out is I get multiple opinions on one subject. I'll see all sides of the coin. I want to see all sides of an issue. I don't just want my point of view to be one-sided. I see a lot of that. People will go with a narrative, or they'll have a one-sided point of view, or they'll have a stubborn point of view. You need to be willing to change your opinion too. I'm always open to interpretation. I'm always open to opinion and fact-checking and doing good research to make sure. Like, if a doctor gives me a diagnosis, I'm not just going to jump on the bandwagon and say, oh yeah, okay. No, I'm going to say, okay, that's great. We have a diagnosis. This is what you think is wrong with me? Great. And then I'm going to study and make sure that everything is straight. I'm going to give information to the doctor. I'm going to give him all my symptoms and make sure that we continue going on the right track. So that way, a year from then, I should be getting better. Things should be matching up with what I'm reading. They should be matching up with what other doctors are telling me. It should be matching up with what the hospitals are telling me. Everything should make sense if the diagnosis fits. But if somebody tells you you're blind, but yet you can see perfectly, obviously that's not true, because the information, you can easily see colors on the ground, you can pick up and you can see objects in your hand, and you're not blind. So the facts, the symptoms, have to match what people are telling you. So when taking everything with a grain of salt, make sure to do your due research before putting it into practice, before doubling down on it. Sometimes I call doubling down on your beliefs. Like, I believe in God. I've quadrupled down on God. I took God with a grain of salt when I was about all the way up to maybe 15. After 15 to 20, I doubled down. From 20 to 25, I became a straight believer. I mean, like, I saw it, like, I know it, like, this is fact. And then by now, I am just like so immersed in my relationship with God that I could never go back. I mean, it's such a strong belief. It's such a relationship that I can hear the call. I can see the signs. There's no way to undo that. I mean, it's good. It's a good thing too. You shouldn't want to undo it. No one should. Everybody should be working to have a relationship with God. It's great. It's a great feeling to have that. But there's a lot more that you have to do to get that. You have to be giving back some pieces of you in a way. You have to give a piece of your own time, your strength. And yes, it's difficult, but in the end of the day, you know you did good. So, yeah, I hope that this helped other people kind of realize how they can go about what news they get, what they believe, what they don't believe. Do your research. Take everything with a grain of salt. And if 9 people say it's one thing and one person doesn't, double down on it. But always keep a skeptical mind. Always, allow yourself to change your opinion. Always allow yourself to learn new things. Don't be stubborn and lock yourself in. That causes problems. Things change. One thing might be true now, and in 10 years change too. Things change all the time. So you got to change yourself for the better constantly. That's a good way to put it, I think.